Today I'm going to share with you 6 practical tips you can use to make the videos that you shoot on your phone look more professional. I worked in video production for over 8 years, so I know all the little tricks and hacks that they would use even on big budget productions. I'm Sivan Felder and I'm the head of video marketing at TwoHeads Consulting. Every week I share tips and strategies of how you can grow your business through video marketing without wasting too much time or money. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and you'll be notified the next time I post a video. Especially when it comes to video production and you need to be producing videos all the time and creating new content all the time, you don't have the money to spend on big budget productions. And most people can't afford to buy a DSLR camera when they're just starting out. Even if you're just starting out, you obviously want your videos to look as professional as possible, especially if you're using them for marketing purposes. And these tips can be used whether you're using an iPhone or an Android, any type of phone, it doesn't matter. Tip number 1 is film horizontally. If you film your footage vertically, unless you're posting it on an Instagram story, you won't have any room to play around with the aspect ratios in post-production. That means that your video will come out with black bars on the side and it will look kind of weird. In order to create either square videos or even be able to create vertical videos, if you shoot horizontally, it'll give you a lot more room to play with in post-production. My pro tip would be to buy a tripod for your smartphone so that you can mount it and hold it horizontally. It's actually kind of hard when you're holding it with your hand to film horizontally. So in order to make it easier on yourself, buy a tripod. Tip number 2, make sure you have proper lighting. Now, I've been on some big budget productions and I can attest to the fact that it's really all about the lighting. In fact, you could have a really old camera, but with fantastic lighting, you can make the scene look incredible. So how should you arrange the lighting in your video? Well, a general rule of thumb is that the light should always be shining on the object that is the subject of your scene. So if you're filming yourself, then the light should be facing you and the camera should be between you and the light. If you're filming another subject or an object, then you want the camera to be between the subject and the light source. So the light source should be behind the camera and the camera should be facing the subject. This way you'll avoid having any weird shadows on your subject and it'll be just a much clearer and crisp look. If you don't have any fancy lighting gear, then use the sun. The sun is the best light source available. If you are going to use the sun for lighting, then I'd suggest filming in the earlier hours of the morning or during sunset when the light is a little bit softer. During the day, the sun can be pretty harsh and then your scene could be overexposed. Tip number 3, make sure you have a clean set. Now, some shoots have set designers whose entire job it is to make sure that the set looks awesome. But obviously, if you're filming on your phone, you are probably the set designer, which basically means that you shouldn't film in front of your dirty laundry or the mold on your wall. It's also important to make sure that whatever the focus of your scene is, or whatever the subject of your shot is the only thing that's moving. Our eyes naturally look towards the things that are moving in the scene, so if there's too much movement going on, it will be really distracting. Tip number 4, understand the rule of thirds. So for a more visually appealing look, keep the subject of your shot either a little bit to the left or to the right of the center of the camera. Don't frame them exactly in the center of the shot. This is called the rule of thirds. Imagine you have a 3x3 grid overlaid on your screen. And instead of placing your subject in the center of the shot, place them a little bit within either the right or the left side of the grid. Also, the points where the lines of the grid intersect are strong focal areas. So make sure that the important elements of your scene are situated there, because that's where our eyes will naturally be drawn to. You can actually add a grid overlay to your phone when you're filming so that it's easier to frame the shot. Tip number 5, have clear audio. Now, when you're just starting out, you probably don't have a microphone. But if you're gonna be recording and filming a lot, it probably makes sense to invest in even a simple lav mic, because having clear audio is even more important than having clear visuals. People are actually more willing to watch a grainy video if the audio is clear than they are watching a high quality video when the audio sucks. If you're just starting out, I suggest getting a mic that plugs directly into your phone because it doesn't make sense to invest in a lot of fancy equipment. And if you're filming on your phone, the audio will automatically be synced up to the footage, which makes it a lot easier to edit in post-production. For the best audio, keep the mic as close to the subject's mouth as possible so that it captures whatever they're saying when they're speaking at a normal level without having to shout. And finally, tip number 6 is add some movement to your shots. A slow pan to the side or a simple push in can add a lot of depth to the shot and make it seem like it was filmed professionally. In order to avoid the footage being shaky, if you are going to add movement, I would mount your smartphone to a monopod that you can hold and it will make the movement much smoother when you're filming. Let me know in the comments below the one piece of filming equipment that makes your life so much easier. Next week, we're going to be talking about how to grow your business using videos. So hit the subscribe and notification button so you'll be notified as soon as the video goes live. I'm Sivan Felder, and I'll see you next Wednesday.